Hello ladies and gentlemen, Azuka here, bringing to you another video for the Conqueror's Blade, published by Porus Interactive and My Games. Developed by Booming Tech. We got the next set of unit masteries. This is a re-record because the audio on my first one and upload, and I uploaded it, was really bad. People have told me. Well, someone had told me. Thank you for that person again. But hopefully this time it will be better and we don't have any issues moving forward. So anyway, we have unit masteries for the Iron Cat Bow Riders and Heavy Prefecture Cavalry. I might actually go live and do a couple of tests, or just check them out on the PTR. Again, it's nothing too extensive. I'll see if I can get some friends. Well, I'll see if I can get anyone to help test them out with me. If I can't, I can't. If I can, I can. But anyway, we have increased range. So the Iron Cat Bow Riders masteries get increased weapon range by 8%, piercing arm penetration by 90%, increased weapon range by 8%, so that's 16% in total, and will probably result in something like around about an 8 range increase. So if you go top line, they'll probably have something like 73 range. Bottom line, they'll be a bit less, so it will probably just end up being probably the 65. But yeah, I don't think this is going to be very strong. The range increase is actually not that great, considering that the firing arc for the Iron Cat Bow Riders is actually pretty terrible. Most archers kind of suffer this firing arc projectile speed issue where it's just impractical because of how fast the projectiles fall compared to how fast they shoot. Realistically, they need to increase the speed of projectiles by a lot. By like, I would say for arrows, they would need to at least double the projectile speed. They're just far too slow. We also have piercing damage increased by 100 points. That will probably be the biggest increase. I think they have like 1400 base, so 100 increase is like a 7 point increase. Enemy kills and 10 ammunition rewards, not that strong considering how many shots it would actually take for Iron Cat Bow Riders to kill something. They'll still go into the negatives. Inflict 150% additional damage on infantry. This will be probably insane if it is just 150 extra damage against infantry, which will result in them actually being able to kill stuff, which could get them ammunition return. But again, you got limitations on accuracy, and just generally just damage output will still be an issue. They have to be rather close range as well. They don't work like Kriegs Fusiliers and can't shoot into stuff very well. You actually still need to get pretty close with the Iron Cat Bow Riders to get them to attack properly. So we have damage increases by 200 points during the duration of double shot. On live, it is called combo shots, but regardless, 200 extra points during double shot. Is it a increase? Is it a flat increase of damage, or is it a piercing damage increase? If it is a piercing damage increase, that is pretty big because it would probably scale off of the 150 additional damage against infantry. If it's just 200 damage increase, it's not particularly a lot. That's just about a 15% increase. And I say 15%. Iron Cat Bow Riders, even as a tier 2, is just not viable in any sense. In any sense. They're just not practical because of how slow they are now, because of how easy it is to kill them, and just frankly, any ranged unit would just completely decimate them. We have lots of issues with them facing against shields as well. Shields are notoriously effective against ranged units, and people just don't seem to just kind of like see that, like, if you just have a shield unit just run at ranged units, you'll most likely be able to just kill the ranged unit before the shield unit dies. But it's a little bit shaky on that grounds as well, because it's really easy for heroes just to stop shield units as well. That being said, Rattan Marksmen are pretty redonkulous. We also have double the effect of Harass, which is their unit trait. Basically, what the unit trait does is that every time they hit a target, it decreases their armor by 50, and when they stack up to 5 times, it causes a bleed. Um, it causes two things. It causes a bleed. It causes a bleed and something else. I'm not entirely sure the entire effect of Iron Cat Bow Riders, but generally it's just kind of vague, and it's just nominally you'll see it as a bleed, and apparently they'll cause a light daze when it triggers. But again, I'm not sure about the CC. I'm sure about the daze, and apparently there's like another effect on it. Not terribly sure. But additionally with that, when activated, restoring 10% of max health for every second for 3 seconds. This is probably not going to be worth anything. 10% of max health will probably amount to about 500 health a second, which is really hilarious because because 3% on something like Men at Arms is like 300 health, but Men at Arms are like 4 times, maybe 5 times tankier than something like Iron Cap Riders. So it's just not equivalency. You could increase the restore health to 100% every second per second, and even keep. Well, I mean, like you could just have Iron Cap Riders heal 100% of health every second perpetually, just with no activation condition, and Iron Cat Riders will still get decimated because that's how much damage is just flying around. 5,000 damage on a unit that just has no protections will just get exploded. But yeah, regardless, I do think the secondary effect is not going to be very good. You would have to be hitting something crazy tanky, first of all, to even trigger harass. I mean, not trigger harass, but like, just thinking about it. There are two. The activation condition. Who gets the heal? In my mind, whoever activates the model that activates the harass passive will get the trigger. Also, this is just really weird as well because just like it just says harass. Does that just? Oh man, that could be really strong if Iron Cap Riders were actually difficult to kill. But yeah, that'll be interesting. Like, is harass going to be just a trigger condition, or is it going to be the trigger condition for the full set? Oh god, that's just something to watch out for. This could be good to shake off small arms fire, but again, like, this is probably not going to be worth. This is probably not going to be worth a damn. You'll still get slaughtered. There's no way you're shrugging off. There's no way you're shrugging off damage that would just instantly collapse your unit. Moving on to another unit, we have the Prefecture Heavy Cavalry Mastery, and they're getting slashing damage, increased by 80, piercing defense by 60, slashing armor penetration by 100. Again, this is like the slashing damage pen are probably going to be the more important stuff. HP increased by 390. I just checked the health stats, and this will probably be less than a 4% increase. Which is not exactly small, but it's not exactly large either. Similarly, slashing point damage and the penetration will be much lower, and will have much more muted effect because of higher base damage, higher base stats. That is. This could be interesting. Again, reduce the cooldown of Breakthrough by 50%. Breakthrough has a nominally low cooldown as it is. I think it's like internally it's like 8 or 6 seconds. If it cuts down to 50%, these guys could get stunned every 3 seconds and they will be able to break through, meaning that they'll get really difficult to kind of stop. and I think that's a good thing. I think cavalry has an issue of just like being too squishy. It's kind it's kind of a twofold thought for me. Cavalry, very easy to sometimes catch and polarize, especially when we're talking about like melee cavalry. They're fast, but because they're constantly dazed and just pinned, it's actually really easy to stop them. I think cavalry in general needs to be a little bit more resistant to just to like basic things, stuns and stuff. Fine, you stop the cavalry, you get chain stun, you're screwed, and that's like with anything in this game. So cavalry also just generally either have too high of an effect or too low an effect. In this case, heavy prefix cavalry have a very too low of an effect. They're very fast units and they hit hard. Like, they hit hard. They can hit as hard as like 6 or 8k with their charge. But here's the kicker: they don't break through shields very easily. They have a limit on their breakthrough, and their charge is actually not that strong. I don't know what they did with melee cavalry charges, but the heavy prefecture cavalry charge is still kind of feeling this effect where they're not hitting as many targets as they should be, or not as many as compared to lance cavalry, which just polarizes everything and basically ignores block. Well, either instantly breaks through his block or just completely ignores it entirely, so I'm not sure about that. The second part of this is strange to me because it's conditional that gives them CC immunity, so it's just like grants 0.2 seconds of control immunity during breakthrough and charge states when under range attack. So the interesting thing here is that I definitely want to test is kind of see what happens when I run these guys at musket units. Musket units straight up cancel the charging state. So this is very important as to determining whether or not the charging state will just straight up get cancelled still, or that CC immunity will allow them to push through and just allow them to get on top of ranged units. So this could be good, this could be bad for them, but I still think heavy prefecture cavalry are just not going to be in a state where they're just going to just... I mean, they're fast. They can definitely get on top of range units really, really, really fast. And it will be difficult to see how effective these guys will be in the long run. In field battle, these guys will be a nightmare to deal with hit and run tactics. But in siege battles, these guys are just clearly not strong enough, and even with some of the other stuff, they just won't be strong enough. But continuing on, we have reduces damage from ranged units by 300 points, increase damage of all ranged units by 300 points, permanently increase maximum health, maximum HP and damage by 20% for each enemy unit killed, stacks up to 5 times, expires after the unit dies or retreats. So that might sound strong, but you also have to realize they have to actually kill something in order to get the buff, and realize that it's a unit of like 21 models. You would need to kill a minimum of 105 units. A minimum of 105 units. And again, is this going to stack individually? Some units are going to get it, some units are not. So you're going to end up needing to kill like 105 units in order to get this super buff unit. But it's just, how do you determine that? You can't throw them at infantry because infantry are too difficult to kill. You throw them at archers, but like archers are always protected by infantry. Maybe you get successful, kill a bunch of archers, but you'll get trapped. Or maybe you're fast enough and get out. There's a lot of questions here that could allow heavy prefect cavalry to be really, really strong, but at the same time so situational that it is just completely worthless. I do think that they're going to be kind of like a very strange, very, very OP and very, very strong when people get kills with them and then keep using them. Heal them up, throw them at the enemy, heal them up, throw them at the enemy, getting 100% increased health, getting 100% increased damage. Now your damage is doubled, meaning that you actually being able to mostly one-shot infantry, and that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. Like, you're twice as difficult to kill, you deal twice as much damage if you're fully stacked. So, possibility of these guys going out of control? There's a possibility. It's not high. The entry level of heavy prefect cavalry is actually very low still. Like, they come in low, but then they shoot up higher. Like, if you just increase their overall performance by like around about 50%, they'd be worth it again. But it's just like there are some like underlying factors that causes heavy prefect cavalry that to not be very useful. And again, it just has to deal with damage output and just tools the players have in order to deal with them. They're very easy to deal with in comparison to some of the other things we have. Just for an example, just like the Wu Wei Mansion Guards just straight up have CC immunity on one of their strongest skills. Nothing you can do to stop it. Nothing you can do to even kill them during that state, because because of the toughness doctrine, they're impossible to kill before they unleash that attack. And again, I have to include the toughness doctrine because that is the doctrine that's causing them to just go out of control. If you have the toughness doctrine on the Wu Wei Mansion Guards, you would be killing 60, 80 units per game, guaranteed. There's like no reason for you not to just be obliterating everyone. And that being said, it's just like, oh, they're squishy. No, they're not. You have the proper doctrines on the Wu Wei Mansion Guards, and they'll just completely body the entire enemy team by themselves. This is the same thing with like men-at-arms. You get that +1 charge, and all of a sudden they go from killing half a unit to killing a whole unit with one charge, and they just become impossible to deal with. Similarly, how the maximum HP increase works is just a straight up 20% every time they kill a unit. So this is going to be kind of like a really cool thing where they're gaining health and you see their maximum health increasing, but their health ain't decreasing while they're fighting. But it only stacks up to 5 times, and it's really hard to tell which of the heavy prefectures will have. I'm guessing it stacks individually. Maybe it doesn't, but it's a bit shaky on how strong this is going to be, because logically speaking, its design is out of date. Breakthrough is very weak. There's a hit limit of like 2, and it increases to 3 or something. The charge state has a weird hit limit as well, so you're not hitting as many units as you should be, unless you're killing them, something like that. So, also, they're all blockable. Like, if a unit has block, you just get completely bodied. So you'll be worthless against men-at-arms, worthless against the Lancelots. The Wu Wei Mansion Guards deal double damage to charging units. You'll get obliterated, and most of the ranged units are just going to just completely body you. Now, what would be interesting as well is that control immunity. That's the only interesting thing, is that the control immunity under range effect, does that mean you can charge directly at musket units and not get stopped? And if you charge directly at ranged units that are firing at you, does that mean things that would nominally stop you doesn't? But it's a little bit few and far between. You're going to get issues where ranged units will only hit the front couple, and only the front couple will go through, but the back few will get stopped by like other stuff. There's a lot of conditionals for both of these units, and there's a lot of uncertainty when dealing with these things. I'm gonna probably check out the height of their damage increases when we go test them on the PTR, and I want to see if I can trigger this healing part. Also, again, inflict 158 additional damage. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think these masteries are going to put these guys in the meta. I could be wrong. Definitely could be wrong. I think everyone expected both the Rattan Marksman and the Iron Cap Scouts to be very, very strong, but even I underestimated how strong the Iron Cap Scouts were going to be. I think um, I think I didn't realize that heroes were going to get days locked into oblivion, and just from the sheer fact that their trigger for charge basically made them like old Keshiks, where the where they would basically activate their charging state continuously, and it is really annoying dealing with it. But yeah, regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That is all from me for now. I said that in the wrong order, but yeah. This is a re-record and a re-record and a re-upload. Hopefully this is a better one. I will check the audio, but don't worry about what I'm saying at the end here. Um, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Other than that, my name's Atsukai. Have a nice day. Bye for now.